Hey guys, what's up? It's Julie the Bibliophile, and it's time for my first ever book talk! Now, I have done other book talks before. I've filmed many of them. Many of them have never gone up. I never edited them or put them up. And there is a couple on my old channel, Theater Girl 1018. I think I've decided I am most likely not going to be bringing my old booktube videos over to the new channel. I may, but if you want to check out book talks on Kingdom Keeper 7, The Blood of Olympus, and maybe there's one more, I'm not sure, you can head over to Theater Girl 1018. I will link the channel in the description. Anyway, today here on Julie the Bibliophile, I am here to discuss To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I finished this book yesterday. I was on like page 130 something when I woke up, and you know, I had been reading it for like over a week at that point. It wasn't catching, I liked it a lot, but I just wasn't really reading it. And then yesterday I went from page 130 something to page 355, the end. I finished it. It was so incredible. I love this book. So before we start with spoilers, let's talk about it. So To All the Boys I've Loved Before is about this girl named Lara Jean. She is 16 years old, and ever since middle school, whenever she has a crush on a guy, and there have been 5 guys that she's had a crush on, she'll write him a love letter. And she addresses them, puts them in envelopes, but she never sends them out. These are for her eyes only. And the point is, when she writes her love letter to a guy, she can let him go. It's like a goodbye letter. She doesn't have feelings for him anymore. And then one day, she finds out that all her little letters have been sent out when one of the boys that she wrote a letter to, Peter Kavinsky, comes and confronts her in gym class and starts talking about the things in the letter. So, and it results in a lot of consequences, and now she has to deal with her feelings for all these guys and what she's going to do about all of them knowing how she felt about them in middle school. So that is it for spoiler free. If you haven't read the book yet, I highly suggest you leave now so you can and not be spoiled, because this book is amazing and you should read it. Okay, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I'll see you later. Alright, so I absolutely loved this book. I loved Lara Jean's voice. I thought she had a really great voice, that it felt so natural. You know, I'm 16 myself, and, you know, Lara Jean's kind of like on the edge of just turning 16, maybe. She's entering her junior year. I just finished my junior year. Lara Jean's voice felt really natural for a teenager, which a lot of YA books don't always do. But, like, I loved her references to Harry Potter and her internal conflict. Like, that's how the mind works. That's how the mind of a teenager works. It's not all sophisticated talk and everything, even though Lara Jean does have a proper personality. So, yeah, I love Lara Jean's voice, and I absolutely adored her relationship with Peter. Oh my goodness. I remember when she first talked about Peter, and before we even met him, how she wrote a letter about him, and I was like, ooh, maybe he's the P.S. I Still Love You, because I knew that was the title of the sequel, and so I knew that one of the boys that she wrote a letter to, she still loved. At least one of them. And I was kind of hoping it would be Peter, because I'm a sucker. I am a huge sucker for ships where they grew up as best friends when they were kids, and now it melds into a love story. Unfortunately, that hasn't always turned out the best for me. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, so we first meet Peter when Lara Jean gets in a car accident because she's really scared of driving and she's not that good at it. And so Peter comes and picks her up, and he offers to drive her home, and I can think that this guy's really sweet. And then he gets the letter, and then Josh gets the letter, and after we find out that Josh is the P.S. I Still Love You at this point. And so I was thinking, no, I don't want her to be with Josh. It's weird. Josh is supposed to be with Margot. It just felt weird that she would be dating her sister's ex-boyfriend, and I didn't think I could support a relationship like that. So, lo and behold, out of the blue, she tells Josh that her boyfriend is Peter Kavinsky, and she sees him in the hallway and runs up and kisses him. And that's really when I fell in love with this couple, because then they decide they're gonna fake date. So Peter can make Genevieve jealous, and Lara Jean can make Josh jealous. And they're both half trying to make the exes jealous, or the crushes jealous, and half trying to let them know, like, hey, I moved on. I'm not interested in you anymore. Even though Lara Jean believes she's still in love with Josh. And at this point I knew Peter and Lara Jean were probably going to end up together, because it was a rom-com style story. I mean, I know, I've seen enough rom-coms to know that when you start fake dating, you're going to end up together. Fake dating, like, never works. It's never fake dating. It always becomes real. Especially when it's to the extent of Lara Jean and Peter, where they even tell their whole families and everyone they know, they are the only ones who know that it's fake. I just started to love them more and more throughout the book. Oh god, I loved how she agreed to come with him to the antique sale, but it was his idea, how he's like, oh, you should come with me to this antique sale. Like, he wants to spend time with her, and then she brings sandwiches, and he brings her the donuts, and you can really see how they started to care about each other. I loved his relationship with Kitty, and because I think he recognized how important Lara Jean's sisters were to her, and he was really great with Kitty, and Kitty loved him so much. And I love the moments when Lara Jean started to recognize that and realize, wow, Peter's really good with Kitty, and how much Kitty loves him. And the big dramatic twist here, the big play out, is as Peter is getting more and more caring, Josh is becoming more and more of an asshole. Can we talk about that for a second? I hated Josh. I don't know how Lara Jean had feelings for him. I really don't, because he is such an ass. I mean, not only is he chasing after Lara Jean right after he broke up with Margot, even though after Margot broke up with him, he was pining after her, now all of a sudden he's interested in Lara Jean, and she started dating Peter, so he thinks it's his place to tell her that, oh, no, you can't date him. He's not good enough for you. You don't know him, Lara Jean. He's not good. He's going to take advantage of you. All those lacrosse boys are assholes. And I love how Lara Jean wasn't taking any of this. How even though she wasn't dating him at that point, for real, she's telling Josh, like, listen, I've been spending time with him and all the lacrosse guys, and they're actually really nice. And so I think Lara Jean also learns a lesson about judgment, how she thought Peter had kind of turned into an ass, but then she realized he's really sweet. And so I loved the foil. There's a foil, a very dramatic foil between Peter and Josh, but it's the opposite of what you would expect. So you would expect Peter's personality of Josh and Josh's personality of Peter, but it's actually the opposite. So yeah, I dislike Josh because I hate it when guys are trying to push themselves in when someone's already in a relationship. I kind of had the same feelings for Margot that I had about Josh. I didn't hate Margot as much because in the end she did come through and she was still a great sister to Lara Jean and Kitty, but she was very, very judgmental, and I think she was really unfair to Lara Jean. And again, she was also the same way about Peter that Josh was. So going back to Peter and Lara Jean, oh, I love their relationship. Again, it was so cute. You could just see how he was growing to care for her. How at the beginning they were just fighting. Speaking of which, when I really, really fell in love with them was the first moment when they started fake dating. And they're like holding hands in the hallway, and they're like, your hand's sweaty. And he's like, no, your hand's sweaty. And then they try to kiss and they bump heads, and basically everything's going wrong, but it's the cutest thing. And they're just bantering back and forth like an old married couple. It was great. I think a really important moment for Lara Jean was when Peter takes her to hang out with the lacrosse guys, and she says that she really loves feeling like she's a part of a group, and she has a whole group of friends now, and she realizes that the lacrosse guys are really sweet, and she's having a great time with them. And very ever so slowly we start to see this develop into a real relationship. I loved Halloween, how he was going to go to a Halloween party, but instead he came over and he helped Lara Jean and hung out with Lara Jean and Kitty. I loved, you saw how much Peter cared about her when all the times he would cancel his plans and come over and help Lara Jean with whatever he was doing. Like, he was willing to skip the football game party to bake the cupcakes for her and Kitty. He came over into the Christmas cookie bonanza with them, again showing his foil with Josh, how he was kind of replacing Josh. Everything about Peter, he's such a sweetheart. And everything about their relationship was just so cute. Then it gets frustrating because we have that really important moment, which may have been my favorite moment of the book, when she realizes she no longer loves Josh. And this really is the epitome of Josh's douchiness, when he's all like, oh, you belong with me, Lara Jean, you don't belong with Peter, you belong with me. Like, it was bad enough, like, at one point you could think he's just trying to protect her, like, he's just thinking Peter's a bad guy, and he wants to protect her because she's like a little sister to him, she's one of his best friends, but now it's getting to the point where he's acting like Gale Hawthorne, or Severus Snape. And he says to her, oh, maybe it was fate, Peter being with Genevieve, and me breaking up with Margot. I think it was always you and me. This is destiny. And Lara Jean flat out says to him, no, it's not. And I was so proud of her. I started applauding because this was such a moment of self-realization and character development for her, that she can stand up and confidently say to him, no, you and me are not meant to be. I don't have feelings for you. And the next line is, this is the moment where I realize I don't love Josh. And I love that because it was so important for her to come to that realization. And also it meant she was one step closer to being with Peter. So she goes on the ski trip with Peter, which I loved that he convinced her to come and that he wanted her there. And he's offering to buy her hot chocolate, even though he agreed he's never going to buy her anything. He starts to learn everything about her. He's like, I know you don't like to ski, but you can come and cuddle and drink hot chocolate. And even though she's mad at him because she thinks he got back together with Genevieve, and so that's why she didn't sit with him on the bus. And I love how angry he got when she didn't sit on the bus with him. Again, showing how he really has feelings for her. So, yeah, they have the thing in the hot tub, they get together, it's perfect. And I knew it couldn't be all that perfect after that because, you know, there was 50 pages left, and nothing can be that perfect with that many pages left unless it's the last book in a series. Lara Jean goes and sees Genevieve, and you think Genevieve is going to have this big character development moment. She's like, I want to be with you. And then she starts calling her a slut and tells her that Peter told everybody that they had sex in the hot tub. And everybody's saying this about Lara Jean. And I don't know why she would believe Genevieve. That's so frustrating to me. So now she's mad at Peter, and she's not speaking to him. She throws away his notes. She deletes his number. And I can't take it. Why would she believe Genevieve? I don't get it when Peter was obviously trying to apologize. So Peter's not texting her for days and days and days. And, you know, I'm kind of expecting a big romantic gesture moment where he comes and, you know, apologizes and stuff. And that wasn't coming until the recital party after Christmas when he shows up because Kitty invited him. And he comes with the fruitcake cookies. And it's so sweet. Oh my god. But Lara Jean fights with him and kicks him out, and Josh starts yelling too, because Josh just had to get his 2 cents in, even though Lara Jean did tell him, listen, I don't like you. I love that it's Kitty that gets her to realize, like, listen, you need to forgive Peter, you need to read these notes, and you need to consider, like, being with him. And I always knew it was Kitty who sent out the letters. It was pretty obvious. But, so then she reads the notes, and all the notes were adorable. That, you know, he thinks she looks pretty, and he loved going with her to the antique sale, and he wants her to bake the fruitcake cookies. And it's just so sweet. I love seeing their relationship slowly developed. I wish it had been addressed that Peter went to Genevieve's house. I think he's having trouble letting go of her. But I hope that doesn't become an issue in P.S. I Still Love You, because I really, really want him and Lara Jean to be together, and I think the scene in the hot tub proves he can be over Genevieve and be with Lara Jean. But he comes out of Genevieve's house, and I was kind of hoping for an explanation that, you know, he was telling her that, no, we can't be together anymore, I'm with Lara Jean, like he was giving her that finality. But that never got explained to us. Maybe it'll get explained in P.S. I Still Love You, hopefully, because Lara Jean and Peter do have a lot to talk about now that she's kind of cooled down. I loved the ending to this book, but at the same time, I'm so frustrated because I have like 4 books on my shelf right now that I recently bought that I have not read yet, so I can't go and be buying P.S. I Still Love You, but I want to read it so badly. And I'm leaving for camp on Sunday, and I'll only be there for 5 days, but hey, I'm not going to have time to read these books and get further along until I can read P.S. I Still Love You. I know that in P.S. I Still Love You, I've read the summary. I know that John Ambrose McLaren comes back. And I really, really, really hope that she ends up with Peter, because there's been so much development. A lot of the books I've read this year have not worked out the way I wanted them to. Particularly 99 Days, that I showed you before. But I'm not going to get into details because I haven't given a spoiler alert about that. To see it work out between Lara Jean and Peter, like it was a rom-com, like it was so fluffy. I really want it to work out between them and P.S. I Still Love You. I don't know. Peter could go back with Genevieve now. Peter could still have feelings for Genevieve because it has been addressed that he still does. So next book he could be back together with Genevieve, or I want to know what Lara Jean writes in the letter, and I want to see Peter's response to it. I don't know if she's going to send it out to him, or if this is going to be for her own eyes. Is she planning on being with Peter, or is this just like another letter that no one's meant to see? I'm thinking the letter is probably going to be signed with P.S. I Still Love You. I don't know. But, yeah, I also loved the relationship between her and Chris, because even though they were so drastically different, you saw when the rumor broke out how Chris was comforting her and how Lara Jean was there for Chris. It was really, really sweet. So, yeah. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comments. Please remember to like and subscribe. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye, everyone!